before you can go to the other person and help him or her to transform, you have to go home to yourself. The usual approach is to begin with this, to go to the other person and ask him to change and force him to change. But this is not the real peace process. The real peace process is to go home to yourself and reconcile with yourself, to know how to handle the difficulties in you, to deal with despair, to deal with suspicion, to deal with fear and anger. And after that, you can go make the second step and help the other person. The other person will have to do the same. She has to go back to herself to learn to handle these things before you and her become a block to help the third person, the fourth person, the fifth person. This is a real peace process. Can you help Mr. Arafat as a person? Can you help Mr. Arafat as a group? Are you solid enough? Do you have enough understanding, solidity, compassion to help him? He needs your help. And if you can practice as a Sangha, as a group of people, if you can express your wisdom, your understanding, your compassion, and then you be something. You be an element, very important, a very important element in the process, in the peace process. You have to support Mr. Arafat, watering the seed of understanding, compassion in him, and encouraging him to maintain his wisdom, and help him to reconcile with himself and with his prime minister and other assistants. He might be very alone. He may be very lonely. And you are there to help him to feel less lonely. You can bring to him many elements of courage, of peace, of hope, of intelligence, so that he can reorganize his group to be his best in order to engage in a real peace process. Mr. Sharon also, and the present Prime Minister of Israel also. You should not leave him alone. Alone, he will feel lonely, cut off. He has to use only his own resources. You have to bring him your support, your resources, and helping him to water the best seeds in him. Because the seed of understanding, the seed of wisdom is there in everyone. Everyone knows that the escalation of violence will lead nowhere. Everyone knows, and yet in reality, the escalation of violence continues. Because that wisdom is not strong enough. It is being covered up by other kind of emotions. And that is why your practice is very important. You practice as a person. You practice as a community is very important. And you know something? The peace treaty between you and your beloved one can be transformed into a people peace treaty. what you promised to your beloved one. Darling, please only water the good seed in me. Please don't water the seed of anger, jealousy in me. I will do the same. I promise, when I get angry, I could not say anything. I could not do anything. I go home to myself, taking refuge in the island of myself, going to my true home in order to look deeply, to see what I have done in order to have created suffering like that. And I will ask you, why have you done such a thing to me? Why you have said such a thing to me that make me suffer? Please explain, please help. I don't want to punish you. I want you to explain to me why you have done such a thing to me, why you have said such a thing to me. And then I will listen to you. And please, darling, do the same. When you suffer, because what I have done, what I have said, please don't try to punish me. Please allow me a chance. Ask me why I have done so, why I have said so. Communication should be possible in order to remove, dismantle the war between two of us. Because if we are motivated by the desire to punish each other, there will be no end to the hostilities. There is no happiness in me, in you, and among us. That is a real peace treaty. Because we are victims of our wrong perceptions in our daily life. And that is why we should act in a hurry. We have to be careful not to act on the basis of wrong perception, on the basis of our anger and despair. We will spoil everything. There was a young man who was drafted into the army. His name is Trương. He's about 28. His wife was pregnant. And then they cried a lot when he had to go. But finally, he was able to be released from the army. He went home. So Mrs. Trương was so excited. Her husband survived the war. And he's going to come home tomorrow. So she went to the gate of the village with her little boy. They were born during the time he was absent. And when they saw each other, they cried so much in the arms of each other. How wonderful to survive and to go home and to be reunified with your family. And according to our tradition, you have to announce the good news to your ancestors. Because in my country, every home has an ancestral altar. If you are going to marry your daughter, you have to announce that news to your ancestor before you do so. If you are to send your boy to college, you have to announce that to your ancestors because they have the right to know. And that is why we burn a stick of incense every morning and we report to our ancestors everything. This is a practice called ancestor worship.